some tips or favorite. Two, I'm going to talk about the first few of them. In Mac OS, there is a trick I wasn't aware of until recently. I found out from Barry, that's been there quite a while, is that if you want to preview a file, and I'll show you this, we're going to come down here, go over, and I'm going to select an image there. If I hit the space bar, it brings up an automatic quick view. And that's really kind of a neat feature. So I just select it, and it brings it up automatically. That's kind of a neat trick. So that's, so if you need to, yeah.
Doesn't end there, though. Bring one up.
Okay.
You notice you have markdown, or not markdown.
You have markup. Oh, yeah.
Right in.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I can go over, and let's say, let me shut these down. Yeah, annotate a screenshot. That's what I'm looking for. Here's a screenshot. There's a screenshot. I can bring markup, and, okay, I can draw things. I can add in my signature. There we go. I can, straight lines, squiggly lines. I can crop. So, I have a mini editor right there. I can share it, come with a share menu, add it to notes. And by the way, I'm becoming a big believer in notes. Oh, geez, do I love notes. I have everything in notes now. And we're going to be talking about it. Something new has been added. So there's a quick tip on that. Don't save. Now, Mission Control is the little app that shows you all the windows that are open at once. And so what you can do is anytime, anywhere you are, you can do Control, up arrow, and it brings up Mission Control. And then you can switch anything you want to. Just like that. You also have your multiple desktops available. So that's a slick trick to get to Mission Control easily. Now, it used to be a function key, and so doing it on a computer without function keys was difficult. Now it's just Control up arrow and bang, there's Mission Control for you. iOS iPhone now supports Quick Note. With iOS 16, they've added a new feature with notes, and that is the iPhone now has the ability to do a Quick Note. So we're going to be taking a look at a Quick Note added through Safari. Now, in Safari, to add a Quick Note, you go down to the Share menu, and you scroll down to Quick Note. This creates a Quick Note that's attached to the Safari URL that you were visiting. You can go in and add text to it, just like any Quick Note, and then you can save it. Now, if we go back to Quick Notes, we can see that it's there in Quick Notes. If we return to Safari, we see that it is now a slide out icon at the bottom showing that the note is there. That's all the quick tips I've got. Mike, do you have anything for Windows this month?
Yeah, actually. Something that just happened the last couple of days that I became aware of that I basically wanted to issue out a warning. And I'll probably be covering this more in either the backups or the Microsoft 365. A couple things. One is apparently the major Windows update did roll out this month. It looks like I got both of them, which kind of confused the issue for me because I wasn't sure what was causing what. And it kind of reinitialized a bunch of things. All of a sudden, it looks like I've got a new computer that says, hi, you want to set this up, that kind of thing. Well, my Microsoft 365 came up with a, you want to set up backup to your OneDrive. So, okay, I've got 1 terabyte available. Why not? And I did that on my Windows 10 desktop. And it turns out I'd already done that on my Windows 11 laptop. Okay, a couple days later, I start noticing things look weird, look different. And my desktop on both systems are looking odd. Took me a while to figure out what was going on. Both of them were backing up to OneDrive. Apparently, OneDrive does not distinguish between computers. All it knows is you're logged on to both in OneDrive, and it happily backed up everything on both computers and synchronized them together. So, I have shortcuts that were on my desktop on my Windows 10 system that suddenly are on my Windows 11 system, and vice versa. Well, okay, this isn't going to work because I've actually created shortcuts that are particular to one system. It's not going to work on the other system. Then I go in, when you do backup on OneDrive, it asks if you want to backup documents, desktop, and pictures. Okay, I go in to do something with pictures. Where are my pictures? They're gone on my on my computer. They're up on the OneDrive, and I start looking around. The way they actually implemented this thing is when you tell it to back up, it creates a new OneDrive folder under Uses. And then it happily moves all of your files into that OneDrive. So now I have OneDrive/desktop, OneDrive/pictures, OneDrive/documents. And it's moved everything in there. So in my normal pictures folder, they're all gone. And I finally found them in the OneDrive folder. But, okay, this is not going to work for me. So I turn off backup and say, I want it done. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes, I'm sure. Okay, so I turn off backup and I go to see if my files have been restored. They have not. They're not restored. Instead, I have a little shortcut that says, where are my files? And if I double click on that, it takes me to the OneDrive folder that actually has them. So I had to manually move all my files back to where they're supposed to be. So be very leery about using OneDrive backup, because apparently it works the way they think it should work. They assume that you have systems that you're using for one entire project. I think it's more business oriented is the whole problem with it. So I think there's some issues there you need to be wary of. Because we'll probably talk about that more when we cover backups. Once I get more of a handle on this thing.
Actually, and on that, I actually like it that way, because then I've got a couple of different computers, so it doesn't matter what computer I'm on. I always know where stuff is because it's in the same place on both computers.
So it works for some people, it doesn't work for others. Depends on how you're set up.
Well, there's something similar on the Mac, and I think that's what they're trying to do is emulate, is that our documents folder and our desktop folder are automatically synced to the cloud. So regardless of what device you're on, you can get to those files. Now, you have to, so you just make sure that that's where you share documents.
Put those actual folders in a different place, like, but I don't consider that a backup.
No, that's not a backup at all. That's where they reside.
There's local copies of a lot of the files as well as in the cloud. It synchronizes it, but what you're describing, think like it's just a way of synchronizing across devices, not really backing up something and leaving it in place.
Well, then once it's done all that, then it copies all up into the OneDrive. But I think my main thing is, first of all, on my desktop computer, I have a data drive, and I have a shortcut on the desktop that leads to that. Now it's copied over to my laptop, and it doesn't know what my E drive is. It doesn't have an E drive. So that shortcut no longer works. But once it's organized, then it takes everything and throws it up into the OneDrive of the cloud. But from what I could tell, it takes everything off of this computer, everything off that computer, and throws them anything that I've actually put directly up there and throws it all together.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it probably would work. We have to be aware of what it's doing and plan for it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Wow. The cloud can save you on many occasions. That's like the presentation I have here. I have it both here locally and on the cloud. So that for some reason I can't get to it here. Let's say my laptop dies. I can bring in my phone. I can bring in my iPad, somebody else's. I can use this computer here.
The light bulb just went off.
I wonder. I'm going to have to test that out to find out if Keynote works on the cloud version. I'm not sure.
You'd have to, and work log into.
Is Keynote up there?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so now we're going to take a look at two videos, both of them done by Barry. We're going to take a look at Apple Mail Send Later.
Hi, this is Santa Baz, your Mountain View Computer User Group VP for Christmas Tips, coming to you on December 10th, 2022. And I've got a tip for you in regards to Apple's new feature of sending your mail later, scheduling it to be sent later in iOS iPad OS and Mac OS. Let's see how it works. So let's switch to the Mail app on Mac OS first. Where is it? There we go. And I'm looking at my computer user group mailbox here. We're going to start a new message, and you can either click on the new message, compose new message icon in the toolbar, or go to the file menu and choose new message. Or if you like keyboard shortcuts, Command N is the keyboard shortcut to start a new message. That's the way I like to work. We're going to compose this. We're going to send it to our fearless leader. I don't know why I'm doing all caps. John Buono, our president, and this is the Apple Mail Send Later feature. Quick message. This is a demo of the Send Later Mail Schedule feature. If I can type in Mac OS Ventura. Okay. So far, basic same thing. You compose your email, address it, put a subject line in, type your contents, choose who you're sending it from, if you got more than one email address, whatever. And then you're ready to send. Now, normally you just click on the little send message icon here in the toolbar. That would just send it right away, a little paper airplane icon. Or you could go to the mailbox menu. Message menu and choose send. And the keyboard shortcut for that is Command Shift D, if you like keyboard shortcuts. But if you want to send later, there's another extra little feature here. Right next to the airplane icon, there is a little arrow. It's a menu, Schedule to Send Message. Click there, and you can send now, which is the same as clicking the little airplane icon, or send it later. And they put this send 9 p.m. tonight default in the list, or you can choose send later with an ellipsis, which means there's a dialogue involved. Yes, you can give it detailed information. You can set a specific date. Let's send it. I'm recording this the day before the meeting, so let's change it to the meeting date, December 10th. And we got a time here. You can either type in a time, or you can even just drag the clock icon or hands to set a time, and then you click on schedule. Now it goes away and you get the little swoosh sound like it was sent, but instead of being sent, it just queues it up and it puts it in a new item in your sidebar called Send Later. And you can see this is the scheduled email. It tells you when it's going to be sent and shows you the contents here. You can edit when you sent it or when you schedule it if you want to change that schedule. And if you don't want it to go at all, you can just delete it from here, from the list, and it won't be sent at all, of course. Well, we'll let it sit there. And that's how you do it on the Mac. Now, very similar to do it on the iPhone. So let's switch over here. You can see my iPhone screen. Let's wake it up. So let's go to the Mail app here. Same message. We're going to create a new mail message, and this time the new mail message icon is at the very bottom right of the screen on your iPhone. So I'm going to click new message. We're going to type it again to John. Test schedule, be something quick here. Move into the message content. Demo for meeting. That's good enough. And now, if you're going to just send this directly, of course, like normal, you just tap the little blue arrow icon on the top right. But if you want to schedule it on your iPhone, you tap and hold, and you get that same menu we saw on the Mac. Send now, send 9 p.m. tonight, or send later. Again, you can change the date and time to whatever you want. Let's do this one a little bit later. We'll say 10:05 and we'll say done. And it goes off If we go back here to our mailboxes, now there's a send later item on the iPhone as well. Shows you the same thing. You can see the email that you scheduled, when it's scheduled for. You can tap on it if you want to edit that schedule, etc., etc., etc. And of course, it works basically the same way on an iPad. Mirror my iPad over here. We can go to Mail. Here we are. We're still in my Mail. For the computer user group, we can address it. Send later demo. And let's see. I'll just paste that in there because I had prepared it ahead of time. Same thing here as on the iPhone. Tap and hold the little blue send icon with the arrow. Send at 9 p.m. tonight or send later. Again, you just schedule it the way you'd like to. Let's send it for 11:10. See what happens at the meeting tomorrow. There you go. That is send later in Mac OS, iPad OS 16, and iPhone or iOS 16 for iPhone. Mac OS Ventura. New feature in those 3 operating systems. Go back to the Merry Christmas screen and wish you all a Merry Christmas. See you next year. Hey there, MVCUGers. No, it's not next year yet. This is just a little postscript to the video tip about send later in Apple Mail. Forgot to mention that on each device that you schedule a mail, that device has to be on and connected to the internet in order for that schedule to be completed. So if you schedule it on your Mac needs to be on at the time that you have scheduled that mail to be sent and connected to the internet, of course. Same for your iPhone or your iPad. So the schedules are device dependent. Whichever device you use to schedule it, that device needs to be on and connected to the internet for that schedule to be completed. That's it. So once again, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Later.
I just realized, Barry, thanks to you, why the message didn't get sent out.
But you just scheduled this one log.
Okay, I just realized I ordinarily don't do this, but on this trip, I turned my Mac off when I left. When I came back and turned it on, I got this dialogue about send, and I said, well, just cancel it. It's been too long. And I just realized now that was the message that didn't get sent. Okay, let's see if that, now we're going to take a look at notes measurement conversion, and I want to tell you that this feature nobody talked about. As far as I know, this is the first public admission that this feature is there, and it is a phenomenal feature. I use it all the time in making conversions because I do almost all my baking and cooking now in metric. It just makes life so much easier. Well, most of the recipes I get are in English. So now, wait till you see this, and this is so cool.
Hi, it's Santa Baz back again with a bonus Christmas tip for the December Mountain View Computer User Group meeting, December 10, 2022. I stumbled across something that I didn't know was a part of the Notes app, and I discovered it on my iPad. So let's mirror my iPad screen so that it gets on the recording there, and you can see what I'm talking about here. So turn this on. Here's my iPad screen. My morning summary. I don't need that. Okay, there's Rudy. Let's unlock. And I was in the notes and I was doing some baking. And let's go to my folders here. I have a folder of recipes. And I was, well, actually, I wasn't doing some baking. I was composing a recipe for my sister-in-law. And she wanted this recipe of that my mom passed on for cornbread dressing for Thanksgiving. And so I typed it in here so it'd be easier to share because I hadn't actually typed it. It had it on a little handwritten recipe card before this. So I typed it in here, and then once I got it in here and shared it with my sister-in-law, I noticed where the measurements are, there's little underlines. And I thought, well, what is that? Usually that's a hyperlink or something. So I tapped on one, and guess what I found? It does unit conversions right in the Notes app. So if I wanted to know how many liters a teaspoon is, well, looky there. It shows me 0.00493 liters. So, if you want to convert measurements of some kind, if you know what it is in a certain, in this case, just, teaspoons, tablespoons, cups, so forth to use in baking. And this would apply to other measurements, I'm sure. But if you need something converted, if I want to know how many gallons or how many milliliters 2 cups is, someone's using a different system for measurement, look at there. I can get that answer, and if I tap on it, it copies that thing, and if I add it, I can paste it in, and I can have more than one measurement in the same recipe. Okay, so that was a little quick iPad tip I discovered. Hope you enjoyed it, and Merry Christmas. Where am I? Got to get out of here. There it is. Merry Christmas. Ho, 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 ho.
I have a question for you, John, in terms of the actual cooking. You're using metric, and you're like that, converted a couple of cups to milliliters, and it's to the thousand or to the hundredths of the milliliter is the measurement. How did you have devices to measure to that level?
No, you round it up. Like a teaspoon is 5 milliliters. Okay. A cup is, 100 grams? 150 grams, something like that. Yeah, you just round it up. Do we have any questions about your computers, any problems you're having? If there are no questions, we are going to take a break right on cue. It's amazing. Okay, folks, we'll be back in about 5. Okay, break's over. Now, before we continue on, what we're going to do is check mail to find out if Barry's message came through. We're going to go into mail, and yep, there's Barry's message. The delay said it came in at 9:55, just like it was supposed to. Well, it came in at 9:57. He sent it at 9:55. I got it at 9:57. Lexicon, term of the month, legacy contacts. If you do not own an iOS device, this is not going to be relevant because I do not know if there is a Windows equivalent or an Android equivalent to this. I wasn't able to find out. But if you do own an iOS device, you will do this before you walk out of this building today. You can read this offline. What it is starting with iOS 15.2, you can now stipulate legacy contacts. Now, what does that mean? That means you are giving permission in case something happens to you where these people are authorized to get into your iCloud account. So if you are like me, have many of my important documents in the cloud, if something were to happen to me, my daughter, my sister, and my wife have been authorized by me as a legacy contact. They can contact Apple, and Apple will let them in. This is super important. That's why I encourage everyone to store things in the cloud. And to alleviate some people say, well, this means that everybody can read it. Apple can't. The only person who can read your data in the cloud is you. And what they do is for the legacy contacts is they will go and reset the password so they can get in. Without that, because you normally have to go through a whole bunch of gyrations to get a password reset, to make sure it's you resetting the password. There's 2-step authentication, and we'll talk about this in future methods. By the way, do you see the option, 2-factor authentication? Use it. It stops cold people trying to get into your accounts. I have it set up on Facebook now, and once a week, I'll get a message from Facebook saying, hey, somebody, someone said, you've asked to reset your password. Here's the code to reset it. That was not me. No, that's somebody trying to get in, thinking they can fool the system to get into my account. 2-factor authentication stops it cold because you can't fake a receiving phone message. Not yet, at least. Okay, so that's what legacy contacts are. We'll be talking more about that in a bit as we go through. Definitely important.
Back to time detective theft topics, but there's a related thing here that was just announced and probably going to go live week is that Apple has, I forget what they call it, they've added additional personal encrypted protection to iCloud. So you can choose to turn it on. It's an opt-in thing, but it gives you complete end-to-end encryption on things that previously Apple had the keys for if law enforcement asked for it, but turn this on, they can no longer provide that. It's completely only, and if you have that set up, definitely need a legacy contact set up so that if something happens, somebody can get into your account on your behalf, because even Apple can't even do it at that.
I hadn't heard that. That's good to know.
It's not on the Apple News site yet. There was a press release. There's the Apple News, the tech news pundit places reporting on it, but Apple's newsroom hasn't put up a story yet. So it probably it's going to be, I think it's part of 16.2 when it goes public. Yeah, the FBI was real mad about it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it's kind of I don't know, law enforcement's in a rock and a hard place. I mean, we want them to protect us, but we also want our data here, even from...
Yeah, what I want to do is I'm going to actually read down here. The data may include photos. This is what the legacy contact will be able to get off the cloud. They include photos, messages, notes, files, apps you've downloaded, device backups, and more. Certain information like movies, music, books, or subscriptions you purchased with your Apple ID, and data stored in your keychain like payment information, passwords, passkeys, can't be accessed by your legacy contact. So that's important to realize. There's certain things they can and certain things like they can't get in your keychain. That can be disastrous. Let us continue.